Yeah, live.
Hi, good evening, members of Builders and Co-Creators. It's yet another Thursday when we gather here to talk matters building. I hope you've been having a great week. I hope that your projects are going on all right. I hope your finances came through. I hope your contractors are working around the clock. And I hope that you're remaining optimistic that your projects will come to a beautiful close. We are here for the in the Builders the Baraza. And as I had promised you earlier, for those of you who managed to like log into the group earlier, this evening are speaking with a gentleman from Houston, Massachusetts, and he's building from the diaspora. We thought that we should talk to somebody who's building from the diaspora because truth is, building from a distance does cause a lot of anxiety. The logistics are different. The whole process is a bit different. The level of anxiety is high. Sending money home and you're not seeing your project is a bit difficult. Those of you who have built or who are building already know that when you're building, you want to be on the road every weekend. Now, these are people who are sending money home. They cannot touch the brick and mortar of their building, but yet they have to keep sending money and to trust that everything is going well. So much as we may not have a weekly diaspora episode, we thought that it would be nice to every so often have a limited edition expose or sort of discussion with one-on-one with somebody who's building from the diaspora. And so this evening we bring to you Dennis Otieno. Our guest this evening is Dennis Otieno from Houston, Massachusetts. Dennis,
Texas.
you're very welcome.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, welcome,
Good to see
Dennis.
you, Dennis. You're welcome.
Asante sana. Yes,
nice.
And it's Houston, Texas.
It's Houston, Texas. Did I say Massachusetts? I'm sorry. Houston, Texas.
Right.
Yeah.
That's all right.
So yeah, sorry, my bad. Okay, guys. Dennis is here, and I have shared with you pictures of Dennis's project. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful home by the waterside. You know, it does not come better than that. And the project is towards the end. Dennis will tell us what the work has been since he started. So Dennis, perhaps you, I know you're Kenyan, so I will not take you through that. Living in the United States of America, and your project, where is your project?
So my project is actually in Fangano Island. It's in an island all the way in Lake Victoria, Homa Bay County. Huko chini.
Nice. So Homa Bay County, Fangano Island, and I like it when you say island because then I know that the implications are in fact different. You know, you're building near a natural resource, and therefore I'm sure that even the approvals that you have had to go through, are different from what the rest of us would. So perhaps you want to tell us about that. What has it been to build in an island in terms of approvals and requirements by the government?
Yeah, so building in an island is just like building anywhere else. The only difference in my case is if you're building in front of the water, because when I initially started the project, we didn't have this county government thing. We didn't have the county governments. We didn't have all this stuff. So we had very little. The only thing you could do was get some kind of NEMA and I think WEMA. I don't know what those bodies are, but I know I paid a good amount of money to get that paperwork done. I had someone to go to Kisumu and get all this stuff done. But we got some paperwork, and then I was told I really didn't need it given the location and because we didn't really have a government structure. But I said, you know what, let's just do it anyway, just in case we need it in the future. So I got all that paperwork done through some contractor.
Oh, nice. And guess what, Dennis, I can tell you today confidently that I am so glad you did it, because today they would be coming after you and telling you, Ebu Songesha building Dani Kidogo, that time you're already roofing, eh? So I'm glad that you did, because now you have the right approval. And at what stage is your project currently?
So right now I'm actually in finishes, and that's the hardest part. Other people in Diaspora that are building warned me that the finishes were going to be the most expensive part of the project. I thought they were joking, But now I know finishes are no joke. Ish, finishes, they are not easy. They are difficult.
Yeah, and you know, and usually you think, really, how can smoothing the inside of a house or putting, cornices here and there be more expensive than foundation and the walling and roofing? Truth is, finishing is really, really, really a big deal. So indeed, they could be expensive. I'm glad, members, that you can hear it from the horse's mouth, that really finishing, you need to really tighten your tummy or your belly when it's time to do so. And Dennis, how big is your house? Not in terms of plinth area, really, but in terms of rooms or bathrooms. Can you describe it for us?
Well, I went for something a little, in my case, I considered it modest until I realized that define modest from perspective ya nani. Modest yangu si modest yako.
Yeah.
But mine is ni 4 bedrooms. Iko fully self-contained. Hizo bedrooms zote ziko na bathroom ndani, and then kuna bathroom moja ya wageni, and then I have a study na niko na kitchen na utility area. So yote ni 4 bedrooms and 4.5 bathrooms, if I can call it so.
Yeah, that's what we call it here. It's 4.5. Because
Yes.
there is one for guests which does not have a shower. It's
That
just,
is correct. That is correct.
yeah. So and how long has it taken you to get to the stage at which you are? I see you're finishing, putting in the fittings, the cupboards. How long has it been? How long has the work been?
Oh wow, that's the longest story of all.
Are you building incrementally, or did you take it from the beginning to the end?
I took it from the beginning to the end. So one of the things, that's a long story, because if you're building in ancestral land, so to speak, in your home Muko Shago, and especially if you're building that in an island, it's almost like you have twice the problems, twice the trouble that you normally have. Now building in Nairobi. I started off initially in Elianza about 2015 to Elianza just to get the materials. I learned some lessons there. If you're building in an island, for those who may try it, I learned some lessons. Materials are not easy to transport over water. So we started getting materials in 2015, but we started building, I think it was around March of 2016. That's when we started building. So it's taken me almost 3 years going. But that's just because, it's one of those projects that, being in the diaspora, you really can't get a loan. And being that this is so rural, it's easy to get a loan from diaspora. That's not an issue. But being that this is so rural, the banks don't even know, because we don't have clear-cut title deeds. So yeah, it's so rural. The banks, you're like, oh, I need to get a loan. They're like, okay, how will we secure the loan? You tell them it's in an island somewhere. They go, we can't do that. We don't even know that
we can't
place.
do that. We can't do that.
So everything has to be done in cash, unfortunately. But that's it is what it is. So it's getting me 3 years.
It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. And I think 3 years building a 4-bedroom house, all en suite with 4.5 bathrooms is no mean feat. Well done, sir. I think you've done pretty well. And obviously, for people who are building in an island, we saw you transporting big stone, on a boat. That was a motorboat.
That's right.
I think it's logistically pretty challenging. And I looked at it and I thought, look at that, guys. You see, there are pipes there. There's a wheelbarrow. There's chuma. There's stones, going to site on a motorboat with 2 men on top. It really is no mean feat. So really, when we say that there is anxiety, big anxiety for those who are in the diaspora, it is indeed true. And for somebody like Dennis, who is then having to transport it through the waters to Mpangano Island, I think really we need to congratulate this gentleman. Well done. So tell us, Dennis, what were your first steps? I know you've already told us how you bought, materials and took it to site before you actually started. What were the first steps? What materials were you buying? How did you know what to buy? Or did you already have a plan? Tell us about those initial steps.
this is where somebody like me, having a strong computer background and being very analytical, before I took on this project, I wanted to find out everything I could about building. And here in the US, it's easy because we built with what you guys call gypsum. It's more wood and gypsum, really. That's what makes up the wall. And then you put some bricks, hapo nje, and that's a house. It's quick, it's fast, it's easy. But in hapo Kenya, we tunatumia concrete, cement. Kila kitu ni cement. So it makes it a little bit difficult because mimi nilienda nikafanya research. Nilijaribu hizi sijui na zinaitwa EPS. EPS hizi vitu zinakuja siku hizi zinaitwa EPS. Hiyo kitu mtu asikudanganye ati ni cheap. Hiyo kitu ni expensive, usidanganywe. Hiyo kitu ni expensive, hiyo kitu si cheap. Then nikasema
Salin, maybe EPS, you see this new technology, it's also, I think it's also depending with where are you getting this material? Because if you are building EPS here in Kitengela or here in Abiriva, it's very cheap actually than the traditional methods. But if you are building EPS in Kisumu, that's much expensive. I think it all also depends with where you are getting it.
Well, they gave me the quote walinipatia karibu nikasema what? And then nikaanza kufanya hesabu. Na mimi yangu ilikuwa difficult because yangu ilikuwa ilibidi kwa vile logistics, challenges za logistics. Kwanza nilikuwa nanunua mawe na transport na maji. Na after, hizo boats ni boats za mbao, zimetengenezwa na mbao. So wanaona, hii kitu na scratch boat. Hii kitu na scratch boat. Sasa by the third trip wanasema, you know what? We have to charge you 2 times what we used to charge you. It used to be, I think it used to be 10,000 shillings per trip. By the time I was making the third trip, they went to 25,000 shillings per trip. And this is just transporting transporting stones from the quarry to the site. And though at that point I said, time out. Nikanunua boat yangu, nikaweka kwa maji. That's the only way I could do it. Boat? Yes, nikanunua boat yangu nikaweka kwa maji. I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't justify paying them 25,000 every trip.
Yeah.
And then
I really do get it because builders, that transportation is a big deal in your construction project. Mwangi, what percentage of roughly what percentage of the building cost in total is transportation? What does it come to?
It's usually about 25%.
Quarter of the amount of money you will spend. So in building really goes to transport. So Dennis decided to buy his own boat.
That's the only solution. I mean, after that, nilijenga boat yangu nikaweka kwa maji nikaambia forget you. I'm transporting my own stuff. And then Mr. Mwangi, kuna kitu moja nililearn. I had my cousin was helping me, but nililearn nyumba ya behind the house tulikuwa na mawe. A big rock. A big rock.
Yes.
So my cousin akasema, hii kitu tatuwa na transportation. Akasema, unajua kuna mawe hapa? So nunue mawe, tukate mawe. Nikaambia, what? Ninunue mawe? Sijanunuanga mawe. Nunua mawe, okay. Nikanunua mawe. I bought like half a mountain. Tukahaya watu wakakuja wakaanza kuchonga. Kuchonga, wanachonga, and hiyo ndio ilichukua almost 1 year. Wakichonga tu hiyo mawe to make blocks. And that in itself is a problem. Yeah, but that was a problem though.
I think you're smart. Why was it a problem?
Because mawe ikichongwa, I learned later on, wakifanya plaster, mawe ikichongwa na mkono haikuangi smooth.
But that is because you wanted a smooth finish. I thought it usually gets a bit cheaper if you're using the bush hammered sort of design, because it needs the finish usually is meant to be a bit rough like that, But if you wanted a smooth finish, then you're still going to spend quite some money,
What were plaster walinunua wakasema we can't get a level. Tunaweka nini hatupati level kwa hizi mawe ziko crooked. Plaster yangu karibu ni 3 inches both sides.
Yeah, but usually that's the case with any stone that is natural stone, bush stone. Hizo zote zinakuanga expensive kwa plaster because you have to actually fill, those are the wall is not usually it's not regular wall. It's the surface is not that smooth, so you have to fill in until you get a level. And then now umesema mawe ulipasua for 1 year. Just asking, I think wasn't that expensive rather than just buying machine cuts?
It was expensive. You know, initially, one of the things I was going to talk about is I always tell people stick with what you want. I'm very analytical, and my only advice for watu leo, kama uko na dream yako, stick with your plan and find somebody that can make it happen. Because my original design iko tofauti na design inayo saizi, and my original plan, mimi nilisema niko kwa island. Sand is plenty. Sand, that was my this was not even my original design. But thanks to architect Helen, she's a lady, as Ellen Ouma, she's in Mombasa, she drew that one. But my original design ilikuwa hizi manyumba ziko very boxy, ziko na flat roof, na ni kioo yote. Just about 90% kioo. I mean, I'm on the water, right?
Yeah.
So it's a nice view to kuwa na kioo kutoka chini mpaka juu.
Yeah.
And then the first thing my architect comes and tells me, oh, you live in the diaspora, hii kitu ni glass, watu watatupa mawe, itaribika, you don't stay here, this house will be alone most of the year. And so akaniscare. Nikasema, okay, then build a normal house. Because Aline is scare. But I don't know, maybe building it the way I wanted would have been cheaper. Because I had a flat roof design. I had those nice, big, fancy buildings. Then I found out later on from my new contractor, Mr. Kefas of Mwamba Builders, that I could have built with glass. Na niweke nini nyuma ya glass. Niweke grills nyuma ya glass. Architect yangu hakujua hiyo.
That would be a lot of grills, though, and grills are not cheap either. Anyway, we get it that you are encouraging people to stick with their original idea. Your case, though, Dennis, is a bit unique because of where you're building. Yes. I see the need and the beauty that you wanted with, having a 360 glass wall and everything. But then your architect actually had a point, perhaps, because you're not there and then, you just don't know what's happening to it. She sort of had a point there. I don't want to get into, to who advised you, right? But what I know for sure is that actually, your grill, bado ungespend pesa kweli kweli. So we like your house as it is today. I think you've done very well.
Thank you.
So tell us, Dennis, when you first began, what were your concerns? The mind space of a builder in the diaspora who is building back home in Fangano. What goes through your mind? What are your concerns?
I had several concerns, but the two primary ones, zilikuwa transportation cost, hiyo nilijua itakuwa tabu. And originally wanted to build with blocks because I thought blocks were going to be cheaper. And I wish I had. Once again, I tell people stick with your plan because sand would have been cheaper to quarry kwa site. Sand is not that heavy like stones. And then ukihaya mtu kwa site, anaishi tu hapo, anatengeneza tu block for the next 1 year. You have enough blocks to build your house, right?
But because you have sand.
Yeah, sand. I can call somebody in 10 minutes. I have sand and sand. Sand tabu.
Sand and water.
Now water and I love that part. I have so much water, it's ridiculous. But sand ilikuwa rahisi. I should have stuck with stones. But the other concern I had ni quality. Quality. Yeah. Jamani, mafundi wa Kenya, jamani, quality, especially finishes. Oh my God.
Talk to them now.
Quality na finishes. God, please help us. It's a long story. All I can say is quality is a lacking thing kwetu. Kenya, quality ni mbaya. I'm sorry for telling the fundis that, but maybe it's because I'm from diaspora and maybe my expectations are higher. I don't know.
Quality of finish.
Yes. People tell me my expectations are higher, but I don't think it is. I don't think it's too much to ask somebody, ukienda kupaka wall, nishaweka choo hapo, sitaki nikirudi, wall ni yellow, choo ni yellow, na choo ilikuwa white vile nilinunua. Because they don't even care to cover the toilet when they are painting the wall. And you are going, guys, unaenda kwa bafu, unaenda paint iko kwa choo, siji vitu zingine zime crooked.
I get it.
Come on, guys. You know, I paid you a ton of money to get quality. And I paid for everything. Nakwambia, what do you want? I want this. Nataka hii. I buy everything. I bring it. And then I get poor quality at the end. I don't get it. Anyway, that's why nowadays, and I'm going to get a lot of hate mail from this, but nowadays, my fundi ni Mkenya, my contractor ni Mkenya, Mwamba Builders, but I tell him, ukileta mafundi, nitolee fundi wanatoka Tanzania or Uganda. Nitolee fundi Tanzania, Uganda or South Africa. Usinitolee fundi wa Kenya.
Why? Why are Tanzanian and Ugandan fundis better?
Because I have noticed a big difference in vile wakikuja kwa site, wanakuja na mentality moja tofauti. Mentality yao wanakuja kufanya kazi, wanakuja kama kuna kitu mbaya wanakuambia immediately. Kama wamefanya mistake, kama nisema walikuwa wanafanya kitu ingine ikaribika ama haikukuja vizuri, wananipigianga simu wananiambia, Mr. Otieno, kuna hii tabu, unataka tufanyaje? Tabu ninao na mafundi wa Kenya, wanaenda wanafanya kitu wanafikiria ningependa mimi mwenyewe. Wanaenda tu wanafanya kitu yao. Then nikuuliza baadaye naambia, what happened hapa? Ati tulikuwa tunafikiria mazee boss tufanye hivi. Nasema, but I'm the owner of the house. Mbona mkunipigia? At least mungeniambia.
Na ulitumia fundi directly ama ulitumia a contractor?
That's a good question. Nilianza na contractor. Mazee, one thing mimi ufanya, and because my site is, I have to admit, me transportation yangu is probably going to be 40% of my budget, not 25. Because when I send people kwa site kufanya, kabla wafanye kazi, na watuma kwa site kufanya survey, and I pay for that transportation.
Yeah.
The people who did the jobs, contractors, kila watu, niliwapeleka kwa site kufanya survey. Unaona hiyo nyumba ina slant. Unaona iko kwa cliff, ina slant hivi.
Yes.
Ujui, hao watu walikuja, wananipatia BQ na plan, and the house was supposed to cost 10 million total. Wananipatia BQ na plan, then wakienda kwa site, wananiambia ati boss, mazee tumeanza kudig foundation, hapa pali imeslant. Inatusumbua na kudig foundation. Pay us another 17,000 extra. Naambia wait, ulikuwa kwa site, ukamesha foundation, ukanipatia bei, sasa naambia imeslant. Kwani vile ulikuwa kwa site, au kuona hiyo slant?
Yeah, what was the need for the survey? You know,
nishapata my story. Anyway, needless to say, contractor wangu, mimi ananileteanga watu, and he picks and chooses, and he has a lot of clients in the diaspora, and he knows who to take where. So mimi, I trust him to bring me the right. Don't get me wrong, there are some things that have been done by Kenyan contractors, a lot of work. My original contractor alikuwa Mkenyan, unfortunately he died in a car accident, but my original contractor alikuwa tu mtu wa Nairobi hapo, mtu wa Kenyan, a Luo guy, and he's the one who started building the house. But later on, when I went to do vitu kama plaster, my house was supposed to be built with stone. Na wafanye key pointing. Unaona hiyo key pointing ya nje ufanywa, nilikuwa na hizi colored stones, color safi sana, yellow, brown, ilikuwa beautiful stones. Walifaa waziarrange ili nikifanya key pointing iwe vizuri sana. Sijui alifanyaje. Walienda kufanya key pointing, wanapata gap moja zingine between the house, hizo mastone uko hapa kwa left, gap moja sijui ziko 2 inches, zingine ziko 4 inches, zingine ziko 1 inch, mpaka linibidi nikaplaster hizo stone zote tena.
Oh my goodness. So guys, if you're a fundi and you're watching us, really quality is a big deal for everyone, not just people in the diaspora, but particularly those who are away and building at home. First of all, the standards with which you're being compared is already high. And then, sasa ibuskieni, ati kazi inataka kutuacha hapa Kenya, iende Uganda na Tanzania. It is a sad thing. Somebody needs to do something. We need to pull up our socks. We need to be sure, we need to address the issue of quality assurance, and contractors who are on site, please visit the site as frequently as you possibly can, so that you can correct things early enough, so that, like this gentleman spent money buying colored beautiful stones, and then again he ends up plastering the whole thing over. It's not nice. And so and you see, guys, the reason why we thought that it's important to talk to a gentleman in the diaspora is because unfortunately, he is away and he can only see that wall when they've already done like 8 courses, like 2 days of work or 3 days of work. But if you're here, at least you can say Ebutuma, or you go in the weekend and say, this one we must bring down. So really, people in the diaspora, we empathize with you, we sympathize with you, and we can learn from Dennis's experience that really, the frequency with which you are, communicating with your contractor is extremely important, so that you can catch things that are going wrong a bit quickly. Kenyan fundis, hakuna kuteta hapa. It is from the horse's mouth. There's a problem with quality. Stop building your own house. Build Dennis's house the way that he wants it. You can advise him, but don't make a decision and then plaster it with concrete, because once that is done, it cannot be taken back. It gets a bit expensive. And so Dennis, you're going to have to give the Kenyan fundi another chance. See,
actually, I do have, as I say, my contractor is a Kenyan. He came from Tanzania. My plumber is a Kenyan. My electrician is a Kenyan. The person who did my kitchen is a Kenyan. The person who built the structure is a Kenyan. The person who did the roofing is a Kenyan. The roof has leaked twice, and I've not even moved in, and it has been repaired. The person who did my kitchen left it halfway done after I paid him. So I'm sorry, I've had trouble with my kids.
No, I hear you. I hear you guys. Honesty, quality, otherwise kazi itatutoroka. Really. Yeah. I mean nobody wants to spend money building their country back home and they're losing money themselves. Let's just do a good job. And on behalf of Kenyan fundis, Dennis, our apologies. You're going to have to give us another chance. Yeah.
Yeah. Celine,
yeah.
Before we leave that, maybe I think there are some things maybe some of the clients maybe never understand is, you see, the reason why I asked between a fundi and a contractor, usually when you engage a contractor and have a formal agreement, usually those things that the contractor does that are not unprofessional or they are done badly, usually they are covered if you have a formal agreement. Usually they have to do it on their own cost. There are actually some formal procedures and policies that are in a formal contract that protect the client from actually incurring the costs. Hizo za kubomoa, kurudisha. So if you have a contractor, that's why a contractor comes in and make sure that they achieve your dream, what you want, without actually you incurring extra costs. So I don't know, maybe that's something else, maybe that people
I think it's extremely important. I think, Mwangi, it's extremely important what you say, that if you're building from a distance from the diaspora, you need to have a contractor with whom you have a contract which stipulates such things as, if something goes wrong, it will be redone to your specifications at their own cost. Then they will take, So I think that's a big lesson. Mwangi, thank you for reiterating it. I think it's important. Don't build using fundis only. Fundis will work on your project, but please, Dennis, have an agreement with the...
I do. The challenge with that is enforcing that agreement. When the contractor doesn't meet their part of the contract and now you want to enforce the agreement, you end up having to pay extra to get the agreement enforced. I have a lawyer on my staff actually that I pay. The challenge with that is hata yeye anamwambia tuta file police report kama fanyi nini. And then I had to fly one time to Kenya just to fight one of the contractors, or the subcontractors, so to speak. I had to spend money. The police, before they write the report, you pay them. I did not know that. To write a police report, and then you have to follow up with them every single time to find out if they found the person. It's a long story. Needless to say, yes, you can sign it, but unfortunately in my country, Kenya, it's almost like wasted paper, because enforcing it is so difficult. It costs you a lot more to enforce that contract than probably not even signing it at all. That's unfortunate, but that's nothing to do with builders. It's the way the government works.
No, I get it. I get it. But trust me, Dennis, without a contract, it might have been worse. It might have been worse. But then in terms of enforcement, yeah, I hear your frustration. And this is the reason why we thought that your story will be different. Please share it with us. It also works, well for you when you complain among people like yourselves and people who are building, So of all through your journey, Dennis, which professionals did you hire? I know that you had a contractor, and did you draw your own house? Did you design your own house, or who else was involved? What other professionals were involved?
I'm pretty good with buildings, so I built the floor plan 2D. Nilichora tu peke yangu, nikatumia architect Kenya, nikamwambia okay, this is a US plan, make it a Kenyan plan, because the US plan is to be built with different materials. Nikamwambia make it a Kenyan plan. Akaichukua, then he built it into a Kenyan plan. Of course, he's the one who looked at my US plan and said no. Hii nyumba utaishi hapa, jenga hivi, and then they changed the design of the house and made it a Kenyan plan. So I used an architect, I used a quantity surveyor, I used a structural engineer, I used the NEMA, WEMA guy that came in. I've used just about everybody. I've used just about everybody that needed to be used in this project. Yes.
Yeah, the quantity surveyor, the bill of quantities that he gave you, was it accurate? No,
it's never accurate. By far, it's not accurate.
I know it's never really the exact amount, but
no, mine is way far from being accurate. So mine is like a quarter of what it should have cost.
So Mwangi, you want to say something?
Yeah, I'm asking. So this means that the BQ never helped you in any way to budget your project.
No, the BQ is it's as good as the poor paper it was written on.
The BQ Mwangi, what happens? What then happens, because you're in this industry, Moses Mwangi? What happens when a quantity surveyor gives you a bill of quantities that is so different from what you eventually get to use, and especially if you use the exact same material he was quoting based on? Is there any recourse?
I don't know. I'm actually surprised that the BQ never meant anything in your project. While in actual sense, the BQ is actually supposed to help you to actually budget within your own, even the materials, the type of materials that you are going to use. But looking at that, this BQ never helped you, maybe that means in the first place, even the design, maybe there may be many variations that happened during the design stage. So that's why maybe the QS and the architect and the plan, maybe there was a big mismatch, because normally, usually the BQ and the architect drawings and the structural drawings, they should actually be matched in terms of cost. So maybe there was somewhere there's something fallout, maybe, or maybe the BQ wasn't for the last design.
Mr. Mwangi, I think I know what you mean. My BQ was what even though my original contractor had traveled to the site several times before I started the project, the problem I discovered about the BQ, he was basing it on East Nairobi prices. Well, when things get transported from Nairobi to Mbita, which is the closest city across the water, the prices are higher than what he put on the BQ to begin with. And then the other thing is in his BQ, he was thinking that I'm going to use like a canter to transport things. Well, I'm using a boat. That's completely different. So all this added up, and then the sloping of the land changed the design of the house significantly, meaning, I was lucky because at the end, because nyumba ilikuwa imeenda, how do I can't see it in the camera, but ilikuwa imeenda flat, and ilikuwa imeenda flat hivi na land imeenda hivi. So I had like a diagonal shape. And because of that, I ended up having a room underneath my front veranda, because I wanted my whole house to be one flat floor. So that vacuum ended up being, vacuum cappuccino. It ended up being a room, a whole one bedroom house or room, or whatever we're going to call it, that I never planned for.
But you see, this is something that the architect should have actually advised you on, because if they visit the site and they see the topography of the land, and when they're designing, they would know that. I'm a bit surprised that they did not advise you that you might have room there.
No, my architect was horrible. My first architect who drew the plan, Helen, was marvelous. The only challenge she had is she was afraid of the water, and she didn't want to go to the site unless I flew her from Mombasa to the site, which I wasn't going to afford to do that every week.
But this is what we were saying in the last interview that we had with an architect, that designing which will impact the bill of quantities must be done after a site visit. See, Dennis ended up with a full, self-contained one-bedroom house in the basement that he did not plan for because there was no site visit. Unfortunate, really. But then people in the diaspora, if you're watching us, learning from Dennis's story and walk towards this, owning this home. First of all, the bill of quantities needs to take into consideration such fundamental factors as transportation and as the location of the project, because Dennis wasn't going to buy stuff from Nairobi to take to Mfangano. Definitely not. There is Mbita there where he was going to buy his stuff, and that is where the pricing should have, should have sourced from. So I think that was a big oversight on and then really, how are you supposed to use a canter to an island? Very, very unfortunate.
So that's why my BQ was completely out of the water. Nowadays, I plan each site. I mean,
it definitely was off. It would be off. So guys in the diaspora, if you're building, send your quantity surveyor to site. Send them to do a visit to the nearest area where you might be getting your stuff so that their pricing is right. You may check against Nairobi so that you know how much you're going to spend, in terms of the variation. But really, the reality is that you're going to buy from Mbita, not Mombasa Road in Nairobi, and therefore Mbita becomes your reality. And so the cost of cement has to be 690 bob and not 530 as it is in Nairobi. See what I'm saying? So insist that they go to site, insist that your architect goes to site, insist that they do an area survey so that they know where you're sourcing from. So that way the bill of quantities will be plus minus 18 to 20%, which should be acceptable. Otherwise, you're doing a disservice to our brothers and sisters who are working hard, away to be able to build here. And the other thing, Fundi's quality, I cannot overemphasize that. Mwangi, you want to say something?
Yeah, I want to actually to address those people. If you have people actually watching us from diaspora, they can actually share their story on the comment section, and we actually also reach out to them at a later stage. Engage us in the comment section if you are watching us from diaspora. That's all.
Yeah. So Dennis, how did you source your contractor?
So my contractor was the first one who passed away was recommended by a family friend. She built a lot of akona manini nyingi sana. Shajenga apartments nyingi huko Kenya, and Ali recommend Uchali. He built the structure all the way up to roofing, but unfortunately passed away in a car accident. And so I had to get a new contractor. But that's how I sourced the first one. The second one, actually, thanks to builders, the Mwamba. I was looking at builders, looking for a contractor, and I saw his work, and I took a leap of faith with somebody that I did not know. And it was pretty good. Actually, it's come forth very, very well. Is somebody that I've learned to trust very well. Akiniambia kitu hivi, maybe because he's been in Tanzania for so long, anasema zile Swahili za Tanzania. Akiniambia kitu, nikaniambia Mr. Dennis, hii kitu itakuwa 400,000 ama 600,000, nikimtumia 600,000 inafanywa.
I see.
Hakuna story yoyote. Ati boss hii nini, hapana. Inafanywa hiyo. Yes.
Got it. So those of you guys who actually think that you cannot source a good contractor from this group of ours, surprise, there is a good report here. Somebody actually did source a good contractor from here. So contractors in this group, when you're putting up your work and people ask questions, please be serious in responding to them in a professional manner. These things of inbox, well, you can inbox, you can side chat, because not everything can be in the group. But there are some general questions that you want to give in the group, because more than one person is reading you. You know, you're getting your audience is big. We are more than 600,000 people, and therefore it's important that you respond as professionally and as friendly as possible, and be open to bargaining, because really, you know how our economy is. Our watu wa diaspora labda yao ni tofauti, lakini yetu ni ngumu. So contractors, it is a serious forum that we are having here. There's work here for you. Just make sure that you respond professionally and that you engage the right fundis. Now, Dennis, I'm interested in your process. Yeah, I know. How did you monitor progress? Did you do it by WhatsApp, or how are you monitoring your progress?
So I ended up using my yakini nishakuwa na tabu watu wa Kenya jamani. Vile nilianza na rafiki yangu ndiye alikuwa ananisaidia kujenga. My real best friend from school, from childhood. Nilikuwa namtumia pesa, anahaya watu wake. This is when we were doing the initial site preparation. Unajua unajenga nyumba ya mafundi kuishi. I live in an island. I have to build a place for them to stay. Unajenga choo, bafu, vitu kama hizo. My place is nice. Ask any fundis. But aku analipa wa mafundi. Ananiambia tunahitaji 200,000 namtumia. Unasikia mafundi wamewacha kazi, wamekimbia wakulipwa. So you pay the contractor guy, it doesn't pay his fundis. But anyway, I eventually ended up using my cousin who stays locally, and he normally gives me daily updates kwa WhatsApp. Tunafanya message, tunafanya video calls, and it's been very, very good. And I'm appreciative of WhatsApp. I wish they keep it.
Yeah, excellent. So really, thanks to technology, you are able to monitor progress. And in the near future, we will be talking about, a solution called the iBuild. iBuild is an app that would help you pay your fundis so that nobody, the fundis cannot say they have not been paid. And, you only pay for work that has been completed to your standards. But that's a story for another day. So I know one of the things that really bother people in the diaspora is, nikitumia so and so pesa atalipa watu kweli. And Dennis says that indeed it was a reality with his friend. He used to send money and people do not get paid. So there is a solution to that, thankfully, and we will be talking about it in the near future. Yeah, so thankfully there is technology, so video calls and all did work, and yes, they can work for you. We are pretty much in the last part of our discussion now. Your contractor, Dennis, when you eventually got a contractor that works, that delivers, how are you paying them?
Mimi mtumianga pesa. I ask him every time. Because of my BQ was out of proportions. When I get to a certain stage, like right now, we're getting ready to build a wall behind the home, because, and this is another advice for people who are building. Ebu, secure the site first. Jenga hizo ma wall na fences first, hata kabla uanze. That's
really? Why?
Because things will disappear. Things will disappear if you don't secure the site. If you leave it open, especially if you're doing finishes ziko na vitu ndogo ndogo nyingi. This is another, by the way, thank you for this picture. This wall was built with soil press blocks done by a Kenyan contractor. Hii wall karibu inanguka saizi. I have to redo the entire wall.
Oh my, why?
Cost me 2.3 million. Now I have to redo it.
Why is it falling?
Thanks to my Kenyan contractors. The mix for the soil and the cement was not done right.
Did you get this contractor on our group?
Yes. But that's okay. That's besides the story. I have had experiences.
I'm having a split second. I'm about to ask you who is it, but I will not ask you that today. But it will be interesting to know, because shoddy work is not something that we're encouraging. We are trying to make this space reliable, dependable. We are trying to to recommend people who are commend people who are doing a good job, and really call out people who are doing a poor job. So I don't mention the name, or obviously, but kindly,
I won't mention it, but
I will need to know it.
Yeah, but the biggest thing I've learned from my pain is that I have had to repeat so many things, and most of them have been in the millions. So my project has cost me more than they should. Like your wall, nilijenga both sides. It's about 190 meters both sides. Ilijengwa saizi. In fact, I'm budgeting my next year. I have to take the whole thing down and put a whole new wall again. So it's unfortunate, but that's been my experience. Plumbing, I had to do 3 times. Electrical, I've had to do twice. All Kenyans. So if I say that I've had pain with my Kenyan people, you know why.
Yeah,
no, I get it. I get it. Mwangi, you're saying something?
No, I'm just unfortunate that alipitia experience yote through the fundis.
It's unfortunate, and I think the people in the diaspora need to open their eyes more, because sometimes people take advantage of your absence. So it would help to get beyond the contractor. Just get somebody locally who oversees the work, somebody who you think you can trust, and somebody who is playing your corner, so that, you know, over and above the contractor saying yes, it was done, somebody else needs to be there to say indeed it's been done. And really, I feel terrible for you, Dennis, but well, there is a cost to it, and that's why we thought that you should come and share your stories. So now,
Celine, and then maybe I'll also share maybe some of the ways that you can actually, even clients can actually avoid to actually having even that whole wall being built. Then you actually find out later that it was actually done poorly. So there are methods, actually, there are processes that are actually in place you can put in place to avoid such scenarios whereby you are incurring huge losses of the whole structure. So, but I think I'll share once you finish the question that you are doing. Right?
No, actually, I wanted to, I hear you. It would be nice to hear that, Mwangi, but I wanted to ask Dennis to just look into the camera and talk to the fellow diasporans and tell them, if they want to build at home, what are the do's and don'ts from your experience?
Good, and thank you, because I got to wrap up in like 9 minutes here, but I just realized I'm behind on something else I needed to be on. But anyway, so just looking at this, some of the things that I would advise them to do, and let me just go through my list. Take it for what you will. The first thing I said was stick to your guts. Do not conform. Kama mtu anakwambia iwezi kufanywa hivyo, stick to your plan. If I'd stuck to my plan, I would have had a flat roof. I would not be using mbao kujenga truces. Ningetumia aluminum juu ya hiyo roof. Ingekuwa flat roof. Ningekuwa na nyumba ya kioo, lakini because I was advised otherwise, I went with what the architect said, not knowing that the architect had not been exposed to modern buildings. So I went with their recommendation. If you're building in an urban area, I would recommend using a real estate developer like Optiven, you know, those people that really, they buy the land and they build and you buy from them, versus you trying to go buy land, because I've had so many issues with the titles in land that I would not recommend anybody in the diaspora trying to buy land from the diaspora. I would not recommend it. Titles ni kama the Kenyan, it's as good as, it's as poor as the paper they're written in. You have to really, and then I realized the titles are not guaranteed. You have to get your own lawyer, and I've actually ended up with stories where the lawyer mwenyewe is in collusion with the person who sold you the long title to get money out of you. Anyway, it's a big, long story too. So if you're building, if you're building in the urban areas, tumia company kama, you know, this developer, the real estate development companies kama Optiven, vitu kama hizo. Nikijenga Nairobi, I'll use them. Nikijenga Kisumu, I'll use them. Nikijenga Mombasa, I'll use them. If I'm building in the rural, next time, I'll make sure I hire a company. That's another advice. The other one is talk to other people in the diaspora and get your references from diaspora. Diaspora person knows the quality that you will prefer because they're in the diaspora. So use diaspora to get diaspora references. That has helped me a lot. Another one was having about a contractual agreement, vile mulisema. But not just a contractual agreement with the contractor. I would extend it to kusema, have a contractual agreement with the store. Pali utakuwa unatoa materials. Chukua store moja, uende home, zungumuza na mwenye store, umwambie ni able to set prices. Nikinunua simiti hapa, ni pesa ngapi? Nikinunua Y10, ni pesa ngapi? Nikinunua BRC, ni pesa ngapi? Agree with huyo mwenye duka. Anytime you need to do an order, you just tell him I need 100 bags of simiti. Unamlipa, mtu wako anakuja anachukua. That helps a lot. If you can afford it, for those people in the diaspora, if you can afford it, I would recommend either buying or hiring. If you're going to use blocks, buy or hire your own block making machine ili umake hizo vitu site, because sometimes it's more expensive to transport, like in my case. If I had known what I know now, I would have bought my own block making machine and I would have done it on site myself. The other one was to build infrastructure. Jenga pali mafundi wataishi, jenga choo, make sure uko na maji, make sure uko na stima if you're lucky enough to have electricity, which I don't have, by the way. Make sure you have all those things before you start building, because it will make your life a whole lot easier.
Excellent.
Those are my advice to the diaspora. And also I warn them that don't build too big. We tend to build too big because we're in the diaspora. Finishes zitakuwa. The smaller the house, the better off you are.
Yeah, sometimes when you build, you think, nyumba imeisha, kuna mlango, sa hiyo ujui, kuna finishing, you know, and that is a piece of advice to anybody, not just people in the diaspora. Okay, Mwangi, do you have any other question to ask Dennis before we release him?
No, I was just actually looking at the comments we are getting, but I think Dennis has actually answered most of the questions that people are engaging us in the comments. So I think we are good. I haven't seen anything outside what we have discussed so far.
Yeah.
So I think we've covered it well.
Nice. Dennis, I think I'll take this opportunity before, you know, we release you to just say thank you for finding time. We know the time where you are in Texas is a bit off right now, but we are glad that you could find time and that you could share the unique work, you know, building in Kenya from the diaspora. Thank you very much for your words of wisdom. Thank you for sending warnings and, you know, caution out to the people in the diaspora. Indeed, very consistent with what we thought. Congratulations on your new home, and let us know when the housewarming is going to be, because we shall come and be present.
It's in December.
Good.
Please invite us.
I will.
If there are any questions that people want to ask and they direct it to us or on this thread, we shall share with you. Please be gracious enough to respond to them. I know that people will ask you who did the door for you, you know, who did the moldings around the windows for you. Those things always come up. Please be gracious enough, because that's how we grow as a group.
Thank you.
So thank you very much. Pambana na hiyo inchi ya Donald Trump, and the best of luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dennis. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So builders, thank you for tuning in. One last minute before we actually go is, first of all, I want to reach out to you. For those of you who are not, you know, able to watch online, you may find us on YouTube. Find Builders and Co-Creators. You will also find us on Telegram. It's called Builders and Co-Creators Official. That's how you find us. Other than that, we also have our group. Our page. Right now, we are in a group. Find us on Builders and Co-Creators with the logo that is on this Baraza. Builders Baraza. If you need to reach out to us for any reason, my number is 0705-640-667 as is on the screen, and Mwangi's is 0723-146-810. You may reach us in case you need some clarity or if you'd like to walk this walk with us. And finally, members, there is opportunity for sponsorship. If you work for an organization or own an outfit that wants to on this discussion, reach out to us on those numbers, and we will be, or on our private mail or inbox, so that we are able to give you what the rates are and what you get out of it. The features of the Builders Baraza that then you will be able to leverage and to take advantage of. Otherwise, members, I hope you have a beautiful close to your week tomorrow. Have a good weekend. Kaeni nyumbani, muhesabiwe, museme bibi wangapi na bwana wangapi na watoto wangapi. Be good. God bless you. I hope that your projects will go well, and I hope that the Lord will open ways for you. Have a good evening. Thank you very much, and great week. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.